Hello everyone, welcome to back my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. In her final Soaps.com interview, conducted a little less than a year before her death on May 8, 2013, Jeanne Cooper offered up a simple reminder that few and far between are the actors who understand the genre as well as she did. In daytime, she said, "You have to grow in somebody's heart." Certainly, that was what she had done over the course of her epic 40-year run as Catherine Chancellor, the jewel-encrusted Diane of The Young and the Restless. The actress reeled us in with the fire in her eyes and the fury in her voice. She made us gasp by delivering lines so pointedly, they practically lanced our TVs. And she stunned us over and over again by revealing the vulnerability that lay beneath the bling and the bluster. She was, in short, brilliant, up to and including her final performance on the CBS soundstage. You can rewatch it here. If for viewers it was difficult to accept that they had lost Cooper, who succumbed to chronic obstructive pulmonary disease (COPD) at age 84, for her young and restless colleagues, it was almost impossible. Heck, it still is. "I miss her every day," Kate Linder Esther told Soaps.com in 2021. "I half expect to see her coming down the hall, or walking onto the set, and when I remember, well, it hits me all over again." But rather than dwell on what we've all lost, even on this somber occasion, let's instead be grateful for what we had. Decades of Cooper dazzling us like a jewelry box thrown open. To help jog your memory, click on the below photo gallery, a collection of highlights from the soap icon's unparalleled run as Catherine. Diamonds are forever. On the anniversary of her passing, a loving tribute to Young and Restless, Jeanne Cooper, plus photos from her entire run as Catherine. It's been over a decade since Jeanne Cooper's final curtain call, but the memory of her remains etched in the hearts of millions, not only as Catherine Chancellor, the matriarch of The Young and the Restless, but as a trailblazing actress who brought dignity, fire, and fearlessness to daytime television. On the anniversary of her passing, we celebrate a woman who was as multifaceted and enduring as the diamond in her character's iconic jewelry collection, a true gem of the small screen. The Grand Dame of Genoa City. Jeanne Cooper wasn't just part of The Young and the Restless, she was its soul. For nearly 4 decades, she portrayed Catherine Chancellor with a blend of ferocity and grace that defied the conventions of soap operas. Her entrance in 1973 marked a turning point for the show, and arguably for the genre. Catherine wasn't just a background player or someone else's plot device, she was the story, a wealthy widow with a whiskey-soaked voice and a heart full of contradictions. From her battles with alcoholism to her complex friendship and rivalry with Jill Foster Abbott, Catherine's life was never short on drama. But what Jeanne brought to the role elevated it beyond scripted turmoil. She infused Catherine with authenticity, a rare quality in daytime drama, giving viewers not just an escape, but a reflection. She played Catherine not as a caricature of a socialite, but as a woman who had lived, loved, lost, and fought back harder each time. A career sparkling with brilliance. Before Y&R, Jeanne Cooper was already a respected actress, with guest roles on shows like Perry Mason, The Twilight Zone, and Ben Casey, where she met her longtime friend and future co-star, Eric Braeden. Her resume read like a who's who of Golden Age television, yet it was her role on The Young and the Restless that would define her legacy. Over the years, Jeanne received numerous accolades, including 10 Daytime Emmy nominations and a win in 2008 for Outstanding Lead Actress. It was a long overdue recognition for a woman who had revolutionized the scope of soap opera acting. And true to form, her acceptance speech wasn't rehearsed or polished, it was real, raw, and sprinkled with the salty wit that endeared her to so many. Even more revolutionary was her decision to allow cameras to follow her real-life facelift in 1984, with the footage written into Catherine's storyline. In a medium that often masked reality with fantasy, Jeanne chose transparency. She took control of her narrative and, in doing so, gave countless women permission to reclaim their own. A legacy in laughter and lessons. Off-camera, Jeanne Cooper was every bit as commanding as the woman she portrayed, but with more mischief and even more heart. Those who worked with her recall a woman who didn't suffer fools but would bend over backward for a friend. She had a wry sense of humor, a penchant for saying exactly what was on her mind, and a maternal warmth that castmates often described as grounding. Her son, actor Corbin Bernsen, often spoke of his mother's fierce independence and unshakable sense of self. "She lived a life with few regrets," he once said, "because she lived it." She didn't play by Hollywood's rules, and perhaps that's why she thrived in a medium where longevity is often elusive. And when it came time for Jeanne to leave this world, she did so with the same dignity she brought to her work. She passed on May 8, 2013, surrounded by loved ones, including her Y&R family who rallied around her in her final days, just as she had always done for them. Catherine Chancellor's final goodbye. Catherine's on-screen farewell was one of the most poignant moments in daytime history. It wasn't just the death of a character, it was the end of an era. The memorial episode, filmed months after Jeanne's passing, served as both a tribute to the character and the actress. Real tears mixed with scripted ones, and every line spoken carried the weight of genuine grief. In an industry known for dramatic deaths and even more dramatic resurrections, Catherine's goodbye was quiet, reverent, and deeply human. She was laid to rest with grace, leaving behind a legacy not of perfection but of perseverance. You can't kill Catherine Chancellor, fans would say. And in a way, they're right. She lives on, in reruns, in memories, and in the strength she inspired in generations of women. Through the lens, Jeanne Cooper's evolution as Catherine. From her first appearance in 1973, with towering hair and formidable presence, to her final scenes as the wise, silver-haired lioness of Genoa City, Jeanne Cooper's transformation over the years mirrors the changes in daytime television itself. In early photos, Catherine exudes a certain 70s glamour, dramatic eyeliner, flowing caftans, and bold jewelry that announced her status before she even spoke. In the 80s, as the show leaned into bolder storytelling, so too did Jeanne, embracing a more intense dramatic arc, from surgeries to betrayals to battles with mental health. Every image from this time radiates power and vulnerability in equal measure. By the 90s and 2000s, Jeanne had settled into the role like a second skin. Catherine had aged, and so had the show, but both had done so with wisdom and bite. Behind-the-scenes shots showed Jeanne laughing with castmates, script in hand, never fully stepping out of character but always keeping the set lively and sharp. And in her later years, every appearance, whether on-screen or in candid interviews, reminded us of what endurance and elegance look like. Catherine Chancellor may have been fictional, but Jeanne Cooper was the real deal. The ripple effect. Jeanne's impact wasn't limited to the sound stages of CBS Television City. She opened doors, shattered glass ceilings, and inspired a wave of actresses who saw in her a blueprint for aging not just gracefully but unapologetically. In an industry that too often sidelines women after a certain age, Jeanne Cooper kept showing up, not because she was allowed to, but because she insisted on it. Colleagues from across the daytime spectrum cite her as a mentor. Melody Thomas Scott, Nikki Newman called her a mother, a sister, and a best friend all in one. Eric Braeden has frequently spoken about her intellect and courage, saying, Jeanne was the conscience of this show. And without her, we are all a little lost. Even newer generations of actors, those who never had the chance to work with her directly, revere her as a legend. Because legends don't fade, they illuminate. Diamonds are forever. The title of this tribute isn't just a nod to Catherine Chancellor's taste for opulence, it's a truth about Jeanne Cooper herself. Diamonds are formed under pressure. They're rare, resilient, and refract light in ways that change the world around them. Jeanne was all that and more. On this anniversary of her passing, fans still pause to remember not just the actress, but the feelings she gave them. The strength she imparted, the lines she delivered with a quiet storm behind them. She was, and remains, a symbol of what it means to be unbreakable. As we scroll through the photos from her run, the bold costumes, the sly smirks, the powerful stare that could melt steel, we don't just see a career. We see a life, a woman who chose passion over polish, who showed up every day, not for fame, but for the craft. And who left behind a legacy not in marble, but in millions of hearts. So here's to you, Jeanne. For every scene, every story, every moment you gave us, thank you. The Chancellor Mansion may be quieter now, but your voice still echoes through its halls. And as long as the lights shine on Genoa City, you will never be forgotten. Because some stars fade, but diamonds, they are forever. Thanks for watching this video and please subscribe our Update World 24 YouTube channel for more update news.